Okay, this is part 8 of the video Jewish Racism in the Federal Court. Despite the New York City Board of Education violating federal law and disposing of all applications, cover letters, and resumes of applicants that were submitted to local school districts and local schools, we're not talking about the headquarters, but the local schools, and having a policy of disposing of these applications and resumes within 6 months of receipt, instead of keeping the records for years as required by law, Magistrate Go found no reason to make an adverse inference against the New York City Board of Education when making a recommendation on the summary judgment motion. Nor did Magistrate Go find the New York City Department of Education refusal to turn over 3 years of teaching observations of 6 teachers to me important, or an indication that the New York City Department of Education was hiding discovery. According to the deposition testimony of Jewish principal Susan Friedman and AP Elaine, Goren, Farran, McCarthy, a non-tenured teacher was observed 18 times over 3 years, 6 a year. The New York City Board of Education, the law department probably, only turned over 4 observations for teacher Dawes, 6 for Goffman, 7 for Cohen, 8 for Goldring, 7 for Eisner, 5 for Rosenthal, and 12 for Smith. Now, they were supposed to turn over 18. What happened to the rest? What did the rest contain? Did these people get unsatisfactory ratings and they were pushed along and socially promoted? Now, even though Principal Friedman and Principal Goren, Farran, McCarthy kept student statements indicating I allegedly said that non-Christians are going to hell, and you said statements to fire me over 2 years later. And even though, the Principal Friedman and Goren, Farran, McCarthy were at the high school where in February 1999, the only remaining high school teachers who were hired within 3 years who were white were Jewish, and even though Jewish principal and assistant principal showed great favoritism towards the Jewish teacher Kobat, the Magistrate Go ruled I could not prove to a jury that Jewish principal and assistant principal knew I was not Jewish. Now, Magistrate Go, who has been overruled on many occasions by judges, is the sterling reason why ethnic people who choose to isolate themselves in their own communities and whose own knowledge of the world is focused on their own cultures and peoples to the exclusion of the knowledge of the entire world and its peoples should not be anywhere near the position of judge or magistrate. Magistrate Go is obviously ignorant of what a typical sounding Italian name is. Anyone who has lived in the New York City metropolitan area from the 1940s to the 1980s is well aware of the influx of the wave of Italian immigrants and the impact of those immigrants and progeny in the New York City area. Most adult people, though not Magistrate Go, can figure out that a last name like Blasi is of Italian background. Unlike a woman, most men don't change their last name, so it would be unusual for a man to have a last name they weren't born with. Blasi is clearly an Italian name. Now, based on this fact, just on the name, there is only the remotest of possibility that someone with an Italian last name would be Jewish because of all the various inquisitions and religious persecutions in Italy. Now, Magistrate Go probably doesn't even know that Italy is a Roman Catholic nation. She probably has no clue where the Vatican is located. She probably doesn't even know what the Vatican is. This is the price we pay for doling out magistrate positions based on race and not based on knowledge and ability. Given this country is mostly Christians, most Christians do not marry Jews. And since I'm at least part Italian, it's very likely I'm not a Jew. Now, unless Friedman and Goren, Farran, McCarthy accompanied me to church every Sunday, they could easily claim they didn't, quote, know, end quote, I was not a Jew. Just like they could claim, after meeting somebody named Mohamed Ali, that they didn't know Muhammad was not a Jew. You know, this is just insane. What has been going on here? I mean, here you have Susan Friedman and Goren, Farran, McCarthy, who are teachers. They're Jewish, and they're in the New York City public school system for, decades, and they don't know that there aren't many Italians who are Jewish. There, in Italy, there are like 60 million people, and today over 60 million, and only 45,000 of them are Jewish. That's much less than 1%. It's astounding that the federal court would accept from the principal and the assistant principal, especially an assistant principal of social studies. I mean, what was Goren, Farran, McCarthy studying all her life that she suddenly missed out on what Italy was and what it meant to the Jews?